So this is I say this like every time, but this is actually now a little different of a video. I'm a little dressed up since it's a serious topic. You know what I'm saying? How do I fix the camera angle? Because I don't know how long this video is gonna be. All right. So, this is less like this is more like story time. I don't know. I am, as I will detail, right? I'm going through a lot of thoughts, right? And I feel the need to explain them, get them out in the world. I don't feel comfortable talking to those around me, right? Because I'm there's fear around that. There's insecurity. But, why not talk to a bunch of strangers who I'll, probably never meet online instead? Why not do that, right? So, that's what I'm doing. Yeah. So, I have mentioned this before, right? I have mentioned the fact that I've never been in a romantic environment, right? There was one time when I was, I believe, in middle school, and there was this girl named Cecilia, and I fancied her, and what do? We're friends already, like a lot of the hard work has already been done, right? I feel like a lot of the work regarding a relationship is building up that relationship to begin with in a non-romantic setting, getting to know the person, having them getting to know you, right? And so there was already that idea, and I could tell she liked me, right? I didn't know if I liked her. And if I'm honest, right, with myself, and I don't, maybe back then I would have said something different. Maybe I legitimately did have feelings for her. If I'm honest with myself, the feelings I had towards her were nothing but friend feelings, right? But I look around me and I see all these people in relationships constantly, right? People are, there's always been those people in 5th grade who are like holding hands, right? But that shit doesn't count. But in middle school, that's when you're introduced to all these ideas, regarding sex, regarding, relationships, kissing, what it's supposed to be, right? And you're introduced to a lot of not good things like drugs, probably. But I rest my case, right? But I see everyone around me, and so what do? I start texting Cecilia and I ask her if she wants to go on a date. Of course, we don't end up going on the date because I chicken out at the end, which is not very cool. But she was totally fine with it. She was like, "Oh, it's okay, no worries," because maybe that's just how likable a person I was, or how much she liked me. But I didn't have to stress about that. That being, I will also say I'm a little bit of an attention whore, in the sense that I love when people are giving me attention, right? Of course, who doesn't, right? Anyone who's on it, show me a person who hates praise or attention, and I'm going to show you a goddamn liar, okay? These people do not exist. They claim they do. There are very humble people, and there are people who feel they do not deserve the attention, but someone who flat out all attention does not like it is lying, okay? There's always someone, like, sure, you might not want attention from your teachers or your classmates, but you're definitely going to want attention from your grandparents or someone who you care about, who you view highly, who you respect, who you put on a pedestal, right? For me, I have built my life around being a very good friend, being funny all the time, trying to, just being the funny friend, and because of that, I have, all right, this is gonna sound stupid, right? But for context, as an analogy, right? Picture, how in video games you can put your stat points into attack or defense, right, for RPGs. I put all my stat points into social connection in a formal or informal setting, not regarding romantic relationships. Does that make sense? So I am a great person to, you know, if you want to like have a friend over, I'm a great person for that. I'm extremely polite with family friends and stuff. But I'm also like, you know, like I'm not gonna I've worked hard to be funny. You know what I mean? I will not undermine my intent to be funny constantly. But because of that, I label myself as, but I am only comfortable in a friend setting. I have there's an intense fear around being in a relationship. Now, that isn't to say I don't like women, right? Love them. When I was in my first crush, I can remember, was in elementary school, and her name was Sophia. And I looked back at the at the yearbook. She was like missing her front teeth, which was like, oh, I could do better. But you know, as a kid, so duh. Anyway, my point is like the romantic feelings have been there, and now I'm 18, and now I'm in college, and now everyone around me has either been in a relationship, right? Is in a relationship, and or has had sex. All three things your boy Jacob has not partaken in, right? Has not been able to, or has not, you know, tried at least. I'm sure if I really wanted to have sex, I would have no problem doing so, right? If I'm being honest. It's the idea of intimacy, of vulnerability that scares me, right? Now, this is where so recently, and recently as in 3 days ago, 3 days ago, or no, 4 days ago, I went out with this girl. This girl is someone I met at a party, at a frat party. I used to be part of a frat. Biggest mistake of my life. I drank too much. Drank soda, that is, because I'm underage. Drank a lot of soda. Drink a lot of soda. So it really raised my blood sugar, if you're catching my drift. And because of my raised blood sugar, I felt terrible the next morning, and I skipped a lot of class, right? But there was one night when my blood sugar was particularly high, right? And I was belligerent, one would say. And I was talking to this girl, and I don't remember any of it. Apparently I said we're going to be best friends and stuff, and according to her, she texted me like a while later and said she liked me, which is a very strange feeling. Usually I have never been the one to hear, like in real life, anyone can say anything online. I've gotten, you know, like DMs, right, on Instagram of, oh, you're very pretty or whatever, you're very cute, but that doesn't mean anything. They don't know me, you know. And so in real life, to hear, you know, online there's no fear around it. It's the same as a dating app, right? In real life, like, cause here's the thing, right? There's always gonna be someone for somebody, right? Guaranteed. If you really need a relationship, and there is the idea of a soulmate exists. You know, everyone has a soulmate. I believe, at least. And so, because of that, right? Like, what was I even talking about? Oh yeah. So like you know, if someone is online, right? You know, you're exposed to a wide array of human beings, right? I don't know where I'm headed with this. Anyway, so she tells me she likes me, and that's a very strange thing for me to hear. Because I've never been told that before, ever, in real life. The closest I got to something like that was, like, even Cecilia did not outright ever say, I'm attracted to you or anything like that, or even imply it, right? I think maybe her agreeing to the date is implication enough, one would argue, but I do not agree. Hang on, let me start microwaving my cup of noodles. College life, oh, I have no friends. And so, she tells me this. And I'll be honest. I'm not attracted to this girl at all, in the slightest. She does not check any of the boxes I look for in a person. And what's more, I need to know the person beforehand, right? And I need them to know me, right? For her to say that she likes me, she has no idea who I am. She doesn't know I post videos. She doesn't know how I act in the videos. How I act on video is pretty damn, like, I try and give my videos the closest thing to me in real life. Or at least me alone, right? People, in real life, I feel like I'm selling people on this idea of me. I might be, weird and skinny, but if I have this one trick of being funny, you're going to want to have me around. See? Right? That's the point, right? And so, because of that, I'm like it's like, it adds even more weird to that. Like, okay, granted, she might just be saying, like I see plenty of guys who, like, walk up to girls and are like, hey, you're really pretty, I would love to go out on a date. And that's so weird to me because I can't imagine, just based on looks, I don't know who you are. What if, a lot of pretty people I've met can be assholes and vice versa, Vice versa would be assholes can be pretty people. I mean, you know what I mean? The opposite can be true. Like, a lot of kind people can be, like, not so pretty and not be physically attractive, right? To the average Joe. Oh, hang on. Oh, I need to fill it with water. Give me a sec. Anyway, I'll keep talking. I don't know if you'll be able to hear. My point is, right? Maybe I won't keep talking. Right? So, it's strange, is my point, right? It caught me off guard, and and I am not attracted to her, so I feel bad already, right? Now, how do I get out of this situation? I tell her she's unattractive. Very smart, very smooth, very, very cunning of me, clever, if you will. I tell her she's unattractive. Now, I am a little smarter for this than I let on, because in the back of my mind, I remember she dated one of my frat brothers. Or not dated, but was, hooking up with them. And there, if pressed, I could say, oh, I just thought I could just say, like, oh, he told me you were just trying to rebound. And if I'm honest, that's a little bit of what I believe. I believe she was trying to rebound. Anyway, so I met her at a party, like, 2 months ago. Okay? I'm talking to my friend, as we're headed from the library, and, I mentioned how I saw her with, we'll call my friend Jessica, and we'll call the girl who said I'm attractive, Leah, right? I tell Jessica, hey, I saw you with Leah the other day, which I did. I did not know you guys hung out a lot, right? And Jessica goes, oh yeah, she told me she liked you, and now I feel really bad, right? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, but I thought it was just rebound. She's like, no, she really liked you. And now I feel like an asshole, right? Because, I shut down, I broke this girl's heart. For context, My sister has been in a relationship, like all her life. My sister constantly, right? Like even when I was a kid. Not that it's bad. I'm saying that like she's just very, in the way that I am socially, in a friend setting, socially available, right? She is, or socially there, right? I am competent in that scenario. She is the same with dating. She knows how it works. And I have no clue. I'm in a world where everyone has figured out, or at least it feels like everyone has figured out what they like, and I'm the only one. I'm gonna let that sit for a second. And so I feel very alone, right? I'm right now I feel very alone. So, and in the moment I feel very alone. Now, important to note that for me, being single is almost like, imagine being at a school where you're indifferent, right? You're sure there's better schools out there, but you're also guaranteed that there's worse schools out there. Now, one day your parents come over and they're like, "Hey, we're thinking, do you want to switch schools?" Keep in mind, where on a scale of 1 to 10, the school you're at is a flat 5, right? Very much a 5. There's no, it's middle of the ground, right? And so that's where I'm at, right? Why would I risk going to a worse school for a potential better school? Does that make sense? Right? It's just, I mean, like, I gamble, right? I love lottery tickets. But I am not the type of man to gamble with my emotions. Fuck, that's hot. I should have let it sit longer. I will gamble monetarily, right? Like with money. Ka-ching, right? Oh, I'm rich. But if I am in a situation, especially at the end of the semester, I don't want to gamble with my emotions. And then the peer pressure hits. And then I make a really stupid decision. I start talking with Jessica more, right? About, because I'm just interested. It's a very strange feeling. I personally do not believe Leah yet, right? I believe it's still a rebound. I think because she tried to do the same thing apparently with one of my other frat brothers. So I'm still like, I'm hesitant. I'm very, very hesitant. And because of that, I ask questions. I'm like, okay, what is up with her? What did she say verbatim, right? Like, what is she talking about? And she like really likes me apparently. And Jessica pressures me, along with my parents, along with my sister. Just text her. Why not? Right? What's the worst that could happen? And so I text her, and I don't know. I text her and I say something like, the last thing I texted her was, "You're not attractive to me. I'm unattracted to you. Sorry." Right? Which is a very awkward note to leave it on. And so I text her, "Just kidding," with an arrow upwards. "Want to go get coffee sometime?" Which is, she's like, "Are you serious? Ha ha ha. Sure, I'd love to." And we text for a while. I text her this at the end of at Friday night, and I was headed back to my parents' house on Friday night too, right? So I'm in the car and I text her this, and then the weekend we're texting, and I get back, and we don't go for coffee. Actually, we go study together. We didn't do shit. We just talked, and we watched Chucky in the library. But from the beginning, I knew I was making a mistake. I knew I was doing something wrong. I don't know what I thought was happening or what I thought was gonna happen. I lied to Jessica, and I said, "Oh, I thought maybe after the date I'd like her more," but I was positive I wasn't gonna like her, and so I'm struggling with this idea of what's wrong with me. You know what I mean? Why would I do that? Anyway, we're talking, and there are zero, like there was this one girl, right, who I only ever talked to online, and I felt butterflies. You know what I mean? There's a, when you like someone. Zero of that with this girl. Zero. It felt like I was trying to sell her, like on my personality, on who I am, much like I do with people I've just met, much like I do with people who, I feel like I don't trust, or who I'm not looking for romantically, right? Please. All right, do we think it's too hot? I don't know if you see, there's like steam coming up. This is definitely a little too hot, but I got it down. So where does this leave me, right? I believe, because I try and be honest. I think I'm a pretty smart guy sometimes, right? And I've gone through a lot of therapy, right? As an adoptee, person who's been adopted, my parents put me through a lot of therapy, which is good, right? So I am very in touch with my emotions, right? I'm very aware of what I'm feeling at any time. And because of that, I overthink things. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot is how when I was in middle school, or when I was in high school, I used to have these dreams about girls. Not like that, but of having a wife, of having kids, of having a future with a woman, right? That I love. And those were amazing, and I'm I want someone who I can support, who can support me. Though I would have loved to date someone back then. And I'm not sure whether I have told myself I'm not good enough, if I have told myself that I'm not good looking enough, that I'm not funny enough, that I'm not good enough of a person, or I'm not deserving, or if they're not deserving of me. I don't know what I've told myself, or if it's just, but I've just I've completely stopped having those dreams after 10th grade. And I've stopped feeling that urge to be with someone, right? I think mostly it could be I've of what I just said, but I think honestly it's the fear of, it's, how do I put this? Going to the dentist, right? You don't want to do it. So you put it off. And in putting it off, you get more and more cavities. So now the dentist is getting worse and worse and worse. But you still put it off because it's getting worse. And so you fall into this pit of procrastination. That's me with relationships right now, right? I know I have zero skills. I texting, easy. I can be flirty over text. In person, I have zero idea of how to do it. I'm so upset with myself. I'm very ego driven. If I'm honest, I do think of myself as I should be smarter than the people around me. I need to be. I'm so much far, I'm so far beyond them. You know what I mean? And I feel like I have to be. And if I'm not, and the reason I think that is because with public interaction, I'm so good. I think YouTube is where I can test out material, right? But in public, I can get people to talk. I can talk to people. That doesn't make me very socially adept by default, but I can guarantee someone to like me, right? In a friendship manner. Because of that, I have set this bar for myself of I need everyone to like me. And when I'm in this new, it's like being dropped into a new island, right, of dating, I am alone. And all of the skills I built up, all that skill tree going toward, all those skill points going towards social interaction are completely, bumfuck useless in a romantic setting. Maybe not completely useless, but it sure as hell feels that way. Because of this, I beat myself up for being unable to interact with, those of the opposite sex, of those, with girls, and there's such a fear around it. And I think that's why I'm so scared of rejection too, right? Because I don't get rejected in a social setting, ever. That's not who I am. I'm Jacob. I always, clutch up. I always can, okay, here's a great example. I have an F in my, I have like a 0% in my biology lab. I walk into the office and I explain to him my situation, and I start talking to him about what's on his desk, and I start talking about his hobbies. By the end of the meeting, I walk out and he's like, hey, you know what? You're going to be able to pass. I'm going to unlock all of these assignments for you. You're going to do them, and I'll let you pass, okay? Because I see you. That's the type of person, I can do it, right? I have this idea that I am a magical person who can magically solve any social scenario. And that's not true. That's not true, especially not in something like dating. Sorry. In addition to this, right, it's so difficult, right? But in addition to this, there's another person on the other side. Is it okay for me to walk into a relationship feeling these feelings, right? Feeling like, okay, I should be better than everyone else at this. I should be better, and then being like complete. There's such insecurity around that, such insecurity. And is it okay to lump that onto someone else, right? Or is it better to not do that, and then they start liking a different me, right? That's my struggle. How do I solve these problems when the only way to solve these problems is by confronting them in a relationship, right? As long as I can continue being the friendship master, right? But I will never become a good boyfriend if I'm never in the position where I need to become a good boyfriend. Does that make sense? I need that when, what but what do? Right? And I'm so scared to put myself in that position, because if they reject me, then it's offensive to me. My ego can't handle it. I can't handle that. I should be better. If they reject me, something's wrong with me. How do I fix this? And I obsess over it. And then I think back to, I don't know, man. I'm not sure if I don't want to be in a relationship because I don't want to be in a relationship, or if I don't want to be in a relationship just because change is scary for me. Like, would being in a relationship be the best thing that happened to me, or would being in a relationship be the worst thing that happened to me, because all along I just never wanted to be in a relationship? That said, maybe I just haven't found the right girl, right? The right person. I think, right now would not be a good time to enter a relationship, because school is ending, right? I am finishing my first semester of college, and I'll be real with you guys, because I can't tell this to anyone. I just can't talk about it. Why? Because of that fear around rejection, right? If I tell someone I'm failing all my classes, there's not a single class I'm in where I have, except for biology, the lecture of biology, where I have above a 70%. Not a single one. Because in high school is way too easy on me. I think that's it. my high school, you could just like talk to them at the end of the year and just be like, hey, I forgot these assignments. Can you just reopen them and I'll do them? And you could get extensions for ages. It was too easy. I already mentioned this idea of I'm Jacob. I should be able to clutch it up. You know what I mean? I can always, at the end, and this is a false idea created by my ego and by my old high school. I cannot clutch it up. I am alone for the first time in my life, completely alone. And because of that, and I'm alone in an adult setting, right? I'm alone with the mind of like a 2-year-old, right? In a setting full of grown-ups and you know, like jocks and fucking beautiful women and stuff and old teachers and, you know, paying for your own food and shit and like you know, alcoholics and stoners and stuff. It sucks. It sucks ass. Like, and because of that, when I was partying at the beginning of the semester, before I left my frat, I had this mentality of fuck. I had this mentality of I can clutch it up because I'm Jacob, because everything works right for me in the end, because everyone else is different. These people need to study. I don't. I'm different. Which I'm not. And it's been a harsh reality to come through. Alright, this gets sound nasty, but a noodle went up my nose. It's like the worst feeling ever. Oh. It's like up there. Yuck. Anyway. Thank you for the subscribers. I predict, hot take, this is gonna be my worst video yet, because I am right now depressed and failing my classes and eating out of a fucking cup of noodles that cost 98 cents in a suit and tie. What's wrong with me? My hair is all greasy, my face is all fucked up. Why do I have an earbud in my ear? What is going on? My room's a mess. I'm not showing you that. That's one of the things I won't show. But, you know. Thank you. Like, I think YouTube is really fun. Stays consistent in my life. It gives me something to do. But I predict this will be the worst. My least successful video on this platform ever. Why? Because no one wants to hear about this. No one cares. And not to say they should. This is me. I'm making this for me, you know? For me to process how I'm feeling. And how I'm feeling is shitty, right? I feel like, you know, like I'm doing something wrong, which is not a good feeling. I feel like I hear, you know, my mom didn't start dating until 20, right? But she's married now. How can she relate? How can anyone feel how I do? And I'm sure people do. It's this idea that I'm alone. Alone in intelligence, alone in fear, right? And alone in the feeling of loneliness, right? I look around and everyone has friends. My best friend is probably coming to this college, which is really nice. But until then, like I have, once I left the frat, I've had 0 friends. I have stayed in my room. There was this one day where I woke up in my underwear and I just stayed there the whole day. Which is not a good place to be, you know? Fucking, ugh. Anyway, I'm probably gonna end the video. It's like 34 minutes. I just kind of rambled, but I don't know. I'll upload it. Just because I don't want any, like, I don't know. You guys don't comment, like, oh my god, I feel so bad for you. Because that'd be really funny. You should comment that. If you made it this far, you should comment. You should comment, man, your life sucks. Like, fucking, that'd be really funny. But I'll probably post, like, a, falling behind cover, because people love Luve apparently more than me. I got, like, 12 subscribers from that shit. And it's by far my highest performing video ever. When I first uploaded that shit, 7 views on the first day. Second day hit, I'm like, oh, it bombed. Oh well, I guess from the start is a dead song. Second day, fucking 124. And it just keeps growing. It's at like 300 now or something like that. Wow. Anyway, toodles. I got homework to do. Yeah. Bye.